10 scary yet beautiful facts about space and us. Number 10. We are so small. Before we can truly grasp the gravity of the threats as well as the beauty that surrounds our planet, we must first realize just how small our planet is. The circumference of Earth at the equator is about 24,874 miles, and from the North Pole to the South Pole it is about 24,860 miles. Within our solar system, we are the fourth largest planet. After us, we are dwarfed by Neptune, Saturn, Jupiter, and our own star, which is 93 million miles away from us, the Sun. The Sun is a pretty big star, but it's nowhere near the sizes of other stars that we know about. To name just a few larger stars for perspective, there is Eta Carinae, a star that is over 5 million times larger than our Sun. Betelgeuse, 300 times larger than Eta Carinae. If it were our Sun, it would reach as far out as Jupiter. And then there's UY Scuti, the largest star that we know of. UY Scuti's mass is unknown, but before UY Scuti comes VY Canis Majoris, a star that is 5 billion times the size of our Sun. We are a part of the Milky Way galaxy. There are trillions of stars in our galaxy, and nearly all of them are circled by at least one planet. Within our Milky Way galaxy, we are not the only solar system. So far, astronomers have found more than 500 solar systems and are discovering new ones every year. Scientists estimate that there may be tens of billions of solar systems in our galaxy alone. Traveling out 150,000 light years, you can see just how small even stars like UY Scuti is within our galaxy. It takes our Sun 200 million years to complete an orbit of the Milky Way, and 2.5 million light years away is the Andromeda galaxy, estimated to collide with our own galaxy in a few billion years. And using the Hubble Deep Field, or HDF, we can see a very small series of space and observations by the Hubble Space Telescope itself. It shows hundreds of galaxies. 5 billion light years out is the cosmic web, where billions and billions of galaxies are estimated to reside. And finally, 200 million light years out is the cosmic microwave background radiation afterglow, is what we believe that started us, the only thing estimated to be left of the Big Bang. That is our universe. What is beyond this? Other universes? Immeasurable heavens? We have discovered less than 0.1% and have found no other life. Are we all alone in this life, or are we in fact not alone? Either thought is terrifying. For now, all we know is that all injustices, political and religious existence theories or truths, all loves, sorrows, hopes and dreams, extinct species like the dinosaurs, and species yet to come, all pasts, presents, futures, thoughts, and actions only exist on our small and insignificant planet alone. This sort of scale, you truly start to think about what truly matters to you, what doesn't matter anymore, and what never did. What do you think? Number 9. Rogue planets. They are the loners of the universe, lost forever in space without a star to orbit. When planets form, they react with each other gravitationally, and it's entirely possible that when our own solar system formed, planets were actually kicked out into interstellar space. There could be as many as 200 billion rogue planets in our galaxy. That's as many rogue planets as there are stars in the sky, and one of them could be heading our way right now as you're watching this video. A collision with another planet sounds unlikely. Could this really happen? As a matter of fact, it already has. 4.5 million years ago, a young planet about the size of Mars collided with Earth over 25,000 miles per hour, 12 times the speed of a bullet. The impact destroyed the smaller planet. Earth survived, but barely. Afterwards, the entire surface of Earth was liquefied. Nothing but rock, lava, and fire was left everywhere. A true vision of absolute hell, the Earth at that time had only an atmosphere of molten rock. Debris that was blasted out 20,000 miles per hour began to orbit the Earth. Gravity began to bring the debris together, and the result was our moon. Number 8. Space debris. Sooner or later, human civilization must confront the very real asteroid and comet collision hazard that exists within space, or we will become extinct. On June 14, 2002, it was just another busy workday, with all of the close calls and near misses that people all over the world have come to accept as the normal level of risk in everyday life. But on that day behind the sun, what no one saw coming and what no telescope could see behind the blinding light was an asteroid big enough to destroy an entire city. From behind the sun, asteroid 2002 MN came hurtling towards Earth, but it missed less than 1/3 of the distance to Earth that the moon is. Nobody saw it pass either until 3 days later, when it emerged from Earth's shadow into the night sky, going away. Though it is rare, it is very possible. The craters on our moon are evidence of asteroids, comets, and general debris hazards that do exist for us today. Billions of rocky fragments, building blocks of a planet that never quite came together when the solar system was formed, are out there everywhere, ranging in sizes from rocks to pebbles to boulders, and some the size of Mount Everest. The reason as to why we haven't had any truly devastating catastrophes with asteroids within the past few million years is mostly because of Jupiter. Occasionally, Jupiter's enormous gravity draws an asteroid off course, causing it to crash into another asteroid and be destroyed, or to veer away into new orbits. It was no secret that a giant rock smashing into Earth was what wiped out the dinosaurs, and that particular rock was estimated to only be 6 miles wide. Number 7. The sounds of space. It's a common misconception that there is no sound in space. Although space is a virtual vacuum, this does not mean that sound does not exist there. Sound does exist as electromagnetic vibrations. Through specially designed instruments such as the NASA Voyager, InGen 1, IC-1, and Hawkeye space probes, we have used plasma wave antennas to record vibrations all within the ranges of human hearing. Now I'm going to show you the sounds of our sun, as well as all of the planets within our solar system, and I really would like some input on what you guys think, especially about Venus and Saturn. Take a listen. Number 6. The supervoid. In 2004, Astronomers discovered an empty section of space within the southern area of the galactic hemisphere where our Milky Way solar system and the Andromeda solar system reside, and that empty space is missing around 10,000 galaxies. Nicknamed the cold spot, this area is 1.8 billion light-years across, and it is the largest known structure ever discovered in the universe. But scientists are baffled about what it is and why it's so barren. It sits in a region of space which is much colder than other parts of the universe, and although it is not a vacuum, it seems to have around 20% less matter than other regions. Although the Big Bang Theory allows for areas that are cooler and hotter, the size of the void does not fit with predicted models. Simply put, it is too big to exist. In this constellation, you can see superclusters of galaxies. The dark blue symbolizes areas that are more empty than others and much colder. The supervoid resides in the bottom right. The latest study of the cold spot suggests that it may be draining energy from light traveling through, which is why the area around it is so cold. In late 2007, it was argued by many scientists that this supervoid could be due to a cosmic texture, a remnant of a phase transition, which is known to be transitions between solid, liquid, and gaseous states of matter. The thing is, though, they believe it's a remnant of phase transitions that took place not anytime recently, but from the very earliest stages of the universe. Number 5. The Multiverse. When the ancients looked into the night sky, they believed that the heavens revolved around the earth and mankind, but over the centuries this view has changed drastically. We eventually learned about our solar system's existence and our Milky Way galaxy. Later, we discovered that our universe was filled with other such galaxies. But it could be that we're committing the same error as our ancestors by thinking that our universe contains everything that there is. The word multiverse refers to the general idea that our universe might not be unique at all, and there may be other universes out there that defy all of our laws of nature. What is known as the anthropic principle is the idea that our universe is fine-tuned to allow humans to live. A small fiddle with the strength of gravity, for example, and life as we know it would not exist. A coincidence that does not sit easily with scientists. The concept of a multiverse neatly addresses this problem. With the infinite number of universes that could exist, we are simply living in the one that we are only able to, meaning that other universes, depending on their laws of nature and physics, could have very different biological life forms or maybe even paranormal entities. And then there's this theory, which is quite hard to put into words, so I will just keep it short. There are many universes, and everything is the same inside each one, meaning you exist on every single Earth. However, each outcome of your entire life is different, whether you fail school or become top of your class, the jobs you receive, the people you love or lose, and any decision you've ever made or chose not to make would have a different outcome throughout your life. But unfortunately, we are only one human with only one outcome on this planet alone, meaning we could never actually prove this multiverse theory to be true, because no matter what, we are stuck with the outcome that we're going to have on this version of the universe. And the chances of one of those outcomes successfully proving this theory, unfortunately, are very remote. Number 4. A supernova. A supernova is a massive explosion generated by a dying star. A star in our galaxy goes supernova once every 100 years. The explosion hurls matter into space and can shine as brightly as an entire galaxy for short periods. Stars are giant nuclear reactors producing energy by fusing hydrogen into helium. Eventually, however, stars run out of hydrogen to fuse. When this occurs, the star begins to fuse helium into heavier metals such as iron. The star's core shrinks while its outer layers expand, creating a red giant that consumes surrounding planets. But what happens when the sun runs out of helium? Fusion simply ends in small stars like our Sun. The star becomes a white dwarf and slowly fades away, but when a large star depletes its helium reserve, the core collapses within seconds, causing temperatures in excess of 1 billion degrees Fahrenheit. The outer layers of the stars collapse as well, only to explode outward in a massive explosion known as a supernova. What's left of the star's core becomes a dense neutron star and forms a black hole, an area of such densely packed matter that not even light escapes its gravitational pull. After a supernova, material expelled in the explosion may form nebulae, which are massive interstellar clouds of gas and dust. Over millions of years, gravity pulls nebulae material together into a dense, hot core called a protostar. Protostars eventually become newborn stars, and the newborn star's gravitational effects surrounding the nebulae material over time may form asteroids, comets, and even new planets. It is truly the circle of solar life. Number 3. The dark flow. The eternal dance of light in the night sky has fascinated humankind for thousands of years, given birth to gods, myths, and finally to science. But now there are hints of strange movements in the heavens. If they can be verified, they will be the first hard evidence that there is an edge to the universe. Sasha Koshlinsky is a NASA astronomer. He claims to have detected a pattern of movements in the heavens so bizarre that it could revolutionize our theory on the universe, just as the Big Bang once did. Sasha wanted to check more precisely how fast and in what direction galaxies are moving to see if there might be any subtle deviations. He used an effect that can only be seen when clusters of galaxies are colliding. The gases around them get heated to millions of degrees. When light from the cosmic microwave background passes through a hot gas, it gets subtly altered. How much it changes depends on exactly how fast the gas and the galaxies it surrounds are moving. Sasha continually and methodically checked this data for over a year, and his data showed something unbelievable. All the galaxy clusters, no matter where they were in the sky, were all veering off to one side of the universe. It was as if they were being pulled towards a mysterious attractor beyond the visible edge of the universe. He called it dark flow. What do you think it is, and where is it pulling us to? Number 2. Supermassive black holes. In nearly every large galaxy, astronomers have found evidence of black holes millions, even billions of times the mass of the Sun. As I spoke about supernovas in number 4, black holes form from what is left of a star's core after it has gone supernova. The collapsed core of a dead star implodes, and its weight is enough to squash all the atoms right down to their nuclei. The result? An ultra-dense ember called a neutron star. The density of a neutron star would be like taking a mountain and crushing it down with so much pressure into the size of a marble. Neutrons can withstand incredible pressures, but if enough matter falls onto them beyond a critical threshold, they can be crushed down to nothing. When that happens, a black hole is born. A black hole is gravity taken to the extreme. Its mass is literally packed into a point and enshrouded within a dark sphere called the event horizon. That sphere is the point of no return. Any gas, stars, planets, or even light that falls in disappears forever. Albert Einstein said that gravity is not just the attractive force of planets or stars like the Sun. It is a warping of space and time, what scientists call space-time, with the presence of massive objects. With the mass of a star squashed down to a deep point, a black hole is basically a deep puncture in space-time. If a future explorer prospecting for data tempted fate by traveling too close to a small black hole, they would be ripped to shreds immediately. However, a supermassive black hole has more spread-out gravity. The ride would be much smoother. What you'd find if you made it inside is the most extreme destination in all of the universe. Number 1. Further speculations and philosophies. So what do we know? Honestly, not much, and won't, not for a long time at least. A time that expands so much farther after yours and my own lifetime. The real question is can we figure out everything there is to know before Earth is destroyed by some random, miraculous, terrifyingly beautiful act of this thing that we call the universe? After watching this video, look up into the night sky and allow yourself to see more than you did before. Do not feel small, insignificant, unimportant, or pointless. Instead, thank your eyes, your brain, and your body, your own silent companion throughout your life, for allowing you consciousness at such an extraordinary time period where you and your fellow man can study these mysteries of existences that are so far away. And whatever you believe in, don't allow this video or others to ever discourage that belief, whether it be gods, science alone, aliens, the paranormal, or nothing. Instead, combine the knowledge we do know of with your own beliefs and theories to see what depths of your own mind you can then explore. We too, as human beings, are made up of the same stuff of galaxies. Maybe we're not supposed to know. Maybe the true meaning of life, while you have it, is to simply give it some meaning.
NASA says that there's a very high chance a strong earthquake will shake LA. According to a study published in early October by NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, there's a whopping 99.9% chance that Los Angeles will experience a serious earthquake in the next 2.5 years. Chances are high for a strong quake on or near two faults in Los Angeles County: the right lateral strike-slip Whittier Fault and the Puente Hills Thrust Fault. The two faults are responsible for the March 28, 2014 La Habra quake, which hit a magnitude of 5.1 and caused considerable damage in the San Gabriel Valley. NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory says the La Habra quake caused a surprising amount of damage to local homes and businesses. NASA geophysicists say that within 60 miles from the 2014 quake site, there is a 99% chance that an earthquake measuring 5.0 or greater will occur in the next 3 years. There's also a 35% chance that a 6.3 magnitude quake will occur in the same area in the same time frame. According to CBS Los Angeles, seismologists at the U.S. Geological Survey have questioned these high probabilities. However, it still looks like Los Angeles residents should start investing in earthquake kits and practicing their drills. California earthquakes in the Salton Sea may awaken the big one. Southern California residents are on heightened alert for a major earthquake. More than 200 earthquakes detected in the Salton Sea last week have raised the chances of a much bigger earthquake hitting California this week. Experts are concerned this cluster of quakes may trigger a major earthquake along the San Andreas Fault. In 2008, experts came up with a scenario dubbed the Big One, where the San Andreas Fault would rupture. The ensuing 7.8 magnitude earthquake would claim 1,800 lives and injure 50,000 people. The Salton Sea quakes temporarily raised the chances of a major earthquake occurring on the San Andreas Fault to a maximum of 1%, 50 times higher than usual. The San Andreas hasn't ruptured in more than 3 centuries, and scientists say California is long overdue for a major quake. That being said, the chances of it happening most of the time are around 1 in 6,000. Cliffs collapse into sea in New Zealand earthquake. The Earth moved for these cliffs in New Zealand on Valentine's Day as a 5.7 magnitude earthquake struck. The cliffs collapsed into the South Pacific Ocean in several areas along coastlines surrounding the city of Christchurch yesterday. Footage shows huge clouds of dust rising into the air as parts of the cliffs retreated up to 5 meters or 16 feet. The epicenter of the earthquake was just 9 miles east of Christchurch, where a 2011 quake killed 185 people. This time, however, the city on New Zealand's South Island survived major damage, and no deaths were reported. But the cliffs weren't so lucky. No serious injuries were reported, but some climbers told media they were hit by falling rocks. New Zealand's seismological body GeoNet said that there were more than 40 aftershocks. Authorities in Christchurch said the quake shocked residents, but the city was stronger than it was 5 years ago. New Zealand quake leaves cows stranded on a tiny island. A devastating earthquake that struck New Zealand's South Island left 3 cows in a very troublesome predicament. The small east coast town of Kaikoura was hit with a 7.8 magnitude earthquake just after midnight on November 14th. The quake caused only 2 human casualties, but stranded roughly 1,000 tourists, hundreds of residents.
Why a building in Tainan, Taiwan collapsed in an earthquake. Controversy has arisen after the discovery of cooking oil tin cans inside the pillars of the 17-story building in Tainan, Taiwan, that collapsed after an earthquake on February 6th. However, experts say they may not have been responsible for the building's collapse. A 17-story building in southern Taiwan's Tainan City collapsed after a 6.4 magnitude earthquake occurred on February 6th in the separate city of Kaohsiung. The building had survived a 7.3 magnitude earthquake that took place previously on September 21, 1999, because the intensity of that tremor was only a 4 compared to the 7 in the Kaohsiung earthquake. Experts say aluminum cans that were later found inside the walls of the building were used to enlarge the pillars without significantly increasing the weight, which was legal in Taiwan for buildings built before 1999. Steel rods inside the building were also found to be locked at 90-degree angles instead of 135-degree angles, which increased the risk of them becoming loose during an earthquake. The U-shaped building was built as 9 connected blocks. Without a fourth wall to hold the ends of the U-shape, the building fell in the opposite direction during the quake. More than 72 hours have passed since the earthquake struck. More than 120 people are still missing, and the death toll has risen up to 40.
Massive earthquake strikes Nepal, over 3,000 dead, thousands injured. Tragedy hit Nepal on Saturday after a disastrous 7.9 magnitude earthquake struck the country, killing and injuring thousands. Search and rescue operations are underway after what is being described as the worst earthquake to hit Nepal in 80 years. Reports indicate that over 3,200 people are dead and more than 6,500 were wounded as a result of the quake. To make matters worse, on Sunday a magnitude 6.7 aftershock struck the Kathmandu area, further terrifying thousands of already scared Nepalese. The BBC reports that 4 of the country's 7 UNESCO World Heritage Sites have been severely damaged, while several other tourism areas are in ruin. International aid and assistance poured into the country over the weekend, but the humanitarian crisis is worsening, with thousands displaced and too scared to re-enter their damaged homes.
March 11th marks the 3-year anniversary of the magnitude 9.0 earthquake and tsunami that struck off the east coast of Tohoku, Japan. The earthquake was the most powerful ever known to have hit Japan, and the 5th most powerful in recorded history. Tsunami waves triggered by the tremor reached heights of up to 40.5 meters and traveled up to 10 kilometers inland. It also moved Honshu, the main island of Japan, 2.4 meters east and shifted the Earth on its axis by estimates of between 10 and 25 centimeters. Months after the quake, a Japanese National Police Agency report confirmed more than 15,000 people were killed and more than 6,000 were injured, with more than 2,000 people still unaccounted for. And 3 years after the earthquake, life has still not quite returned to normal for many Japanese residents. Those whose homes were washed away or evacuated due to nuclear accidents caused by the earthquake and tsunami still reside in what were supposed to be temporary housing units. It was difficult for officials to put an exact figure on the monetary value lost in the natural disasters, but estimates put the figure in the millions or even billions of US dollars worth of coastal structures and habitats destroyed.
Indian Ocean tsunami, 10 years later. It has been a decade since a massive earthquake in the Indian Ocean caused the world's deadliest tsunami. The 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami occurred when the Indian plate subducted below the Burma plate and triggered a 9.1 magnitude earthquake. The tsunami affected 14 countries, including India, Indonesia, Malaysia, the Maldives, Myanmar, Somalia, Sri Lanka, Thailand, Bangladesh, South Africa, Madagascar, Kenya, Tanzania, and the Seychelles, killing about 230,000 people and injuring 500,000. More than $15 billion in humanitarian aid was raised internationally to help affected areas rebuild. The Indian Ocean Tsunami Warning System was constructed and put to use in 2006. Seafloor pressure sensors detect earthquakes and pass the information to a surface buoy, which transmits the data to a satellite and eventually to control centers on the ground. Ten deep ocean assessment and reporting buoys are deployed in the Indian Ocean. Regional tsunami service providers have been set up in Australia, India, and Indonesia to operate as tsunami advisories for the Indian Ocean. The Indian Ocean Tsunami Warning System alerted the Indian islands of Andaman and Nicobar to the 2012 Banda Aceh 8.4 magnitude earthquake within 8 minutes.
Second earthquake in Nepal kills at least 42 people. Another strong earthquake shook Nepal on Tuesday, just weeks after a devastating quake that killed at least 8,000 people and wounded more than 17,000. Nepal's second strong earthquake in as many weeks struck near Mount Everest, not too far from the epicenter of the previous earthquake on April 25th. It measured 7.3 on the Richter scale, with a depth of 15 kilometers. Several buildings collapsed in Chowtara, about 30 miles from the epicenter. At least 42 people were killed. According to witnesses, the quake lasted about 40 seconds. It was also felt in Bangladesh and northern India. In India's Bihar state, at least 3 people were killed after a building wall collapsed.